Hang on a minute. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my Monday motivation. I hope some of you have been enjoying our free festival over October. If you haven't, do go to joinclubsoda.com/festival. It's been an amazing weekend, actually, of different events. We've had panels on how to socialize sober, how to not suffer from FOMO. I'll say a little bit more about that in a minute. Oh God, I've got all my things going. Hang on it. Also, we had a great session with Drew talking about how he became a mindful drinker, a moderate mindful drinker. And also we did a really good session with me and Drew on all the tools and techniques to get you started and keep going on changing your drinking. If you haven't seen any of those live, don't worry, because you can watch them again by signing up to the festival for free. All of the videos from the last 2 weeks are already up there. Actually, it's just over a week, isn't it? But the last 11 days are already up there. You can watch everything again in your own time and just digest all that content and take the bits that are important for you. What was most interesting in the panel that I got a lot out of this weekend was the panel on how to not feel like you're missing out. And there were some really positive stories from people about how changing their drinking had helped them reframe their friendships, gain time, be more productive, set up their own businesses, and also be their ringleader for more interesting things to do in their social life. And they really gave me confidence that whatever behavior change you make in your life, you are gaining something new. We always focus on what it is that we're taking away, and quitting drinking or cutting out booze makes us always focus on the thing that we take away and not on the thing that we gain. And so if you do get a chance to delve into the festival and watch that session, then please do. The other thing that came up this weekend, and I realised I haven't really talked about it here, is why we use the phrase mindful drinking. Now, for those of you who've gone alcohol free, that phrase sort of freaks you out because it tends to, it doesn't sound as definitive as alcohol free or teetotal or quit or whatever. And so often we get pushback from our members who say to me, but Laura, I'm not a mindful drinker, and I think it's dangerous to talk about mindful drinking. And I'm very belligerent in always saying, no, that's not it. You've got it completely wrong. Back the other way. And there's a really good reason why we do that. So let me just tell you a bit of a story about where the word mindful drinking came from when we first decided to use it in Club Soda. We were always really clear that as an organisation, we weren't telling you what your goal should be. It was up to you to make that decision. And if during your time with Club Soda, you were looking at moderating, or you were just curious, or you were taking a month off, or you were going alcohol free, all of those were fine. There's not a collective noun for a group of people changing their drinking. There's not like a meeting or a foundation or all sorts of words that incorporate all of those people. And so I always wanted to find a phrase that would say that and be meaningful to everybody. And in other campaigns, for example, queer campaigning, which I've got a big background in, there are many different queer people. I'm a bisexual queer, or probably pansexual really, and other people identify as homosexual, and other people will identify as gay, and some people will be gender fluid, and some people will be very binary and cis in their gender choices. But we all come together under one umbrella of queer or LGBTQI+. And that umbrella is really helpful because there isn't any such thing as a homogenous community of people who all think and feel the same way. And certainly I've met people who've been long-term alcohol free and have started moderating, and all of those sorts of things. And so I wanted a phrase that says, it doesn't matter where you are in your journey, how long you've been doing what you're doing, whether what you do's changed over time, we are all mindful drinkers. And for people who can sometimes push back on that because they're alcohol free, what I would say to you is what you've done is you've concentrated on the wrong bit of the phrase, right? You've concentrated on the drinking bit and not the mindful bit. At the end of the day, we are all mindful drinkers, whether we've given up or whether we're moderating, because we've all been mindful about what works for us and what our drinking habits are that are right for us. And so we are all mindful. And I'm a mindful drinker because I only drink things without alcohol in, but I still drink fluids, right? I still drink all sorts of interesting drinks. But I have chosen a mindful way that works for me. So I thought I would just give a little bit of genesis around that. But there's also another really important reason for all of us to embrace the phrase mindful drinker. And that's because if we want to get what we want as social experiences when we're out and about in the world, from whether we go to somebody's wedding or funeral or christening, or whether we go to a pub, bar or nightclub or restaurant, we all want to have a same experience. And that experience is no different if you are somebody who's never drunk before, doesn't drink for religious reasons, is just not drinking today because they're driving, has decided they don't want to drink because they don't want to get too drunk, have decided you're not drinking because you don't drink on Mondays to Thursdays, or whether you've given up drinking for good or whether you're moderating, we all deserve to have the same experience when we're out drinking. Now, if I was to go to pubs and bars and restaurants and say, you need to do more for the people who are totally alcohol free, then we're talking only about 4 or 5 million people in the UK. But if I talk to pubs and bars about all of the people that are mindfully drinking because they're taking days off, they've never drunk, they drink very little, they're driving, they're looking after children, they've gone alcohol free, they're moderating, all sorts of reasons, then that's a 25 million people market. And suddenly I get the attention of pubs and bars and restaurants and drink makers and producers and people who organise events and mixologists and all those sorts of people. And changes that are made for the wider group are good enough for everybody. In the same way, for example, as if you were to make buildings more accessible for people in wheelchairs, you also make them accessible for people who've got pushchairs, people who have got all sorts of mobility problems, people who might just temporarily have some reason why stairs aren't particularly good for them, lazy asses like me when some days I don't want to, or if I've got a wheelie suitcase. You know, by making these changes, we make them good for lots of people. And the great thing about persuading bars and restaurants to stock more low and no alcohol drinks for mindful drinkers is it also benefits the person who might not have thought about changing their drinking yet, but see some drinks behind the bar and realise that it might be possible that they could change their drinking and still have the social life they want. So we don't only make it good for a wider group of people, but we set the right conditions, we set the right foundations for everyone to be mindful if they want to. And for me, that's incredibly powerful. Every time you ask a pub or bar or restaurant for something better to drink, you make it better for all sorts of people that come after you who aren't exactly you, but share some similar characteristics. Boom, that to me is world changing. That's what social change is all about. That's how we say change the structures of society to be more accommodating to people who don't want to drink alcohol, be that in this here and now moment or in the longer term. So I thought that was worth explaining because to me it's really important, and it's why we're really, really belligerent in Club Soda in making sure that we use that word, even though sometimes some of you might feel that it doesn't describe who you are. But I can tell you now, I am an alcohol-free mindful drinker. I have lots in common with people who don't drink for religious reasons, who don't drink today because they're driving, and who are moderating their drinking. And together we are a more powerful force. I'm leaving that with you. Okay, bye.